The phone call came at 3:47 p.m. on a Tuesday, I remember, because I was watching the clock, waiting for my son to call like he always did. Instead, his wife picked up. My stomach dropped before she even spoke. "We need to talk about the wedding," she said. No hello, no warmth. I was standing at the kitchen sink, hands still wet from washing lunch dishes. Through the window, I could see the garden I'd planted 3 years ago. Tomatoes, basil, roses. All things I'd learned to grow for them. For the family dinners. For the moments when they'd actually want me around. "Of course," I said. "What about it?" She didn't hesitate. "You're not invited anymore. Marcus thinks it's best if you step back. You've been toxic to the relationship, and we need space." I couldn't feel my legs. "Toxic?" I heard myself laugh, a strange, broken sound. "I brought meals to your house every Sunday for 2 years. I helped you plan this wedding. I paid for half the—" "That's exactly what I mean," she cut me off. "You act like you own us, like we owe you gratitude for basic decency. It's exhausting." The phone nearly slipped from my hands. 30 years. 30 years of being the good mother-in-law, the one who didn't complain when she made terrible coffee. The one who smiled through her comments about my accent, my clothes, the way I seasoned food. The one who showed up. Always. And now I wasn't welcome at my own son's wedding. "Let me talk to Marcus," I whispered. "He doesn't want to. And honestly, neither do I. This is final." She hung up. I stood there for what felt like hours. The water in the sink had gone cold. My hands were pruning, but I couldn't move, couldn't think. The kitchen was so quiet I could hear the hum of the refrigerator, the ticking of the clock on the wall, the one they'd given me for Christmas 5 years ago, before things changed. Before she changed everything. I looked down at my phone. No text from Marcus, no follow-up, just silence. That's when I saw it. My laptop was open on the kitchen table. I'd been checking my email earlier, looking at recipes for the rehearsal dinner I'd planned to make, the one that wouldn't happen now. I sat down slowly and opened her email account. She'd used my computer once to order something, and I'd never deleted the auto login. Lazy security. The kind of careless mistake people make when they think no one's paying attention. The first thing I noticed was a folder called Drafts. My hands started to shake. One email was to someone named Derek. The timestamp was from 2 months ago, right around the time she'd suddenly started treating me coldly at Sunday dinners. "Can't stand much longer with him. His mother keeps showing up. It's suffocating. But the prenup isn't signed yet, so I have to play nice for 6 more weeks. After the wedding, I'm taking half of everything and disappearing. Derek, meet me at the Riverside Hotel Tuesday. I've already opened the second account." I clicked on the next one. "His mother is so pathetic. She thinks bringing food makes us family." I showed Marcus the fake text messages like we talked about, told him she's been stalking us. He actually believed it. Men are so easy. My vision blurred. Email after email. Plans to drain joint accounts. Jokes about my accent. Screenshots of conversations with my son where she twisted my words, made me sound jealous and controlling when all I'd ever done was love him. All I'd ever done. There was a video file. I almost couldn't click it. It was her, sitting in a car with Derek. They were laughing. Laughing about how she'd played it perfectly, how Marcus was such an easy mark, how they'd planned this con for nearly a year, waiting for the right moment to strike. "His mother's going to try to warn him," she said in the video, brushing her hair back. "But by then I'll have already transferred everything. She's nothing. She's a ghost in his life anyway. He won't listen to her." I pressed my palm against my chest. My heart was racing so fast I thought it might stop. 30 years of showing up. 30 years of being dismissed, tolerated, endured. And now I had the proof that it had all been an act. That while I was bringing casseroles and listening to her problems and genuinely trying to be the mother she never had, she was planning to destroy my son. I looked at the clock again. 4:23 p.m. My hands moved to the keyboard. I could take a screenshot, forward it to my son right now, expose her, protect him. But then what? He'd chosen to believe her over me. He'd called me toxic. He'd let her push me out. If I showed him this, I wouldn't just be saving him, I'd be destroying him. His marriage, his trust in people, his faith that love was real. I could do it. I had the evidence. I had the power. But did I have the right? My phone buzzed. A text from my son. "Hey Mom, sorry about the wedding situation. I know it sucks. Still love you. Still love you." Like it was nothing. Like he hadn't just ripped my heart out and stomped on it. I stared at the email thread, at the video, at proof that his wife was a predator. And I realized something cold and sharp. I had a choice to make. I could stay quiet and watch my son get robbed and destroyed. Or I could become the kind of person who uses secrets as weapons. I could be the villain in someone else's story. But what if being the villain was the only way to save my son? My finger hovered over the mouse. One click. That's all it would take. One click, and everything changes. I didn't sleep that night. I sat at my kitchen table with the laptop open, reading through every email. Every single one. By 2 a.m., my eyes felt like sandpaper, but I couldn't stop. Each message was another knife. His mother showed up with flowers again today. I threw them away before he saw them. He'd feel guilty if he knew she was trying so hard. It's pathetic. Marcus thinks she's toxic, right? Well, I've been texting myself from her number. He's going to see screenshots that will make him hate her. It's working perfectly. The prenup negotiation is next week. After that, we move forward with the plan. 6 months after the wedding, I disappear with half of everything. Derek and I will be in Costa Rica by then. I read about the fake text messages, the doctored conversations, the way she'd systematically poisoned my son against me, building a case brick by brick, lie by lie. And I realized something worse than the betrayal itself. She wasn't just a predator. She was patient. She was methodical. She was a professional. My phone was sitting on the table next to the laptop. I kept staring at it, watching the hours change on the clock. 2:47 a.m., 3:15 a.m., 4:02 a.m. I could call him right now, wake him up, tell him everything. But what would he hear? The desperate voice of a mother trying to keep her son, the jealous ex-in-law who couldn't stand to see him happy. That's what she'd already told him I was. And if I called him at 4 a.m. screaming about emails I'd obtained by breaking into her account, I'd sound exactly like the unstable person she'd described. She was smart. Too smart. I opened the screenshots folder on her email. Hundreds of them. Photos of my son and her smiling, kissing, looking like the perfect couple. They were dated, cataloged, organized. These weren't memories. These were props. I looked at one photo in particular, the two of them at the Grand Canyon, his arm around her, both of them laughing. I remembered when he'd come back from that trip. He'd shown me the pictures on his phone. He'd been so happy, so in love. I'd been happy for him. I'd helped plan their engagement party. I'd spent 6 hours baking her favorite cake. And in every single moment, she was already planning to destroy him. My hands moved to the keyboard. I started taking screenshots. Dozens of them. The evidence was building like a case file. Email after email. Each one dated. Each one more damning than the last. After the wedding, I'll have access to all his accounts. The bank transfers will happen seamlessly. He won't even notice until I'm gone. His mother keeps calling. I told Marcus she's been threatening me. He's actually started to believe she's dangerous. It's incredible how easy it is to manipulate him. I felt something crack inside my chest. Not him. Not my son. He wasn't stupid. He wasn't weak. He was just. Loved her. And she was using that love like a weapon. My email pinged. A new message in her drafts folder. Timestamp, 11:40, 3 p.m. an hour ago. Derek, I'm moving up the timeline. Marcus's mother found something. She's going to try to tell him. We need to strike first. I'm going to convince him that she's mentally unstable and that she's been stalking us. I've already prepared the story. By tomorrow, he won't believe a single word she says. I read it 3 times. She knew. How did she know? Then it hit me, the auto login. When I'd opened her email account, there was probably a notification. A device notification. A new login from an unknown device alert. She knew someone had accessed her account. And she was one step ahead of me. My phone buzzed. A text from my son. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely read it. "Mom, I need to talk to you. This is serious. Can you call me?" I called immediately. "Hey," he answered. His voice was tight. "Wrong." "What's wrong? Are you okay?" There was a pause. A long one. "Are you snooping through our private accounts?" His voice was ice. My stomach dropped. "What? No, She told me. She said you've been trying to access her email, that you've been spreading lies about her, trying to break us up because you can't stand to see me happy with someone other than you. That's not true. Marcus, listen to me." She showed me proof. Screenshots of you trying to reset her password. Emails you supposedly sent to her colleagues. "Mom, this is crazy. I don't even recognize you right now." I couldn't breathe. "I didn't send any emails. I would never, Marcus. There's something you need to know about. I can't do this. Not tonight. She's really upset. I need to be here for her. Your wife is lying to you. She's planning to. And you're the one spreading lies." His voice cracked. "The woman I love told me the truth, and you're trying to make me doubt her. Do you understand how much that hurts?" My own mother. He hung up. I stared at the phone screen. She'd won the first move. She'd gotten to him first. She'd rewritten the narrative before I could even tell him what I'd found. Now anything I said would just sound like I was desperately trying to cover my tracks, trying to discredit her because I was caught. I looked back at the laptop, at the emails, at the evidence that would destroy her if anyone believed it. But no one would believe me now. I was the villain in this story, and she was the victim. I closed the laptop slowly and sat in the darkness of my kitchen. For the first time in 30 years, I realized I had nothing left to lose. That thought terrified me. But it also made me certain. If everyone already thought I was the bad guy, then maybe it was time to stop proving them wrong. Maybe it was time to actually become one. The printer hummed to life at 6 a.m. I'd spent the entire night selecting the emails, the worst ones, the ones that couldn't be misinterpreted or explained away, the drafts about the con, the screenshots of fake texts, the video file converted to still images, the bank account plans, all of it. 47 pages. Color printed, bound with a single brass fastener. I held it in my hands and felt the weight of what I was about to do. This wasn't proof anymore. This was a weapon. And once I used it, there was no taking it back. I thought about my son's voice on the phone. "I don't even recognize you right now." Those words had carved something hollow out of my chest. But they'd also clarified something. He already thought I was a monster. So what did it matter if I became one? At least this way, I'd be a monster for a reason. My neighbor, Tom, had connections at the courthouse. He'd gotten me the address of the law firm where my son worked, the one he'd just been promoted to last spring. The one where his wife had convinced him to move to so she could get him away from me. Smart. She'd thought of everything. Except she hadn't thought that I'd print this. I dressed carefully that morning. Gray dress, pearls, the kind of clothes a concerned mother would wear, not desperate, not unstable, just worried. I drove to the law firm and walked into the lobby at 8:47 a.m. during that perfect window when everyone was arriving, when security was distracted, when I could slip into the elevator without being questioned. The receptionist glanced at me. "I'm here to see Marcus Chen," I said. "It's family business. Urgent." She didn't even ask my name, just pointed to the elevators. The third floor smelled like expensive coffee and ambition. His office was at the end of the hall corner window, nameplate on the door. My son had made it. He'd actually done it. I felt a surge of pride mixed with nausea. I knocked. "Come in," he called. He was on the phone when I opened the door. The moment he saw me, his face changed, closed off. Hard. He held up a finger 1 minute and finished his call. I stood there in the doorway, clutching the bound printouts, feeling like an intruder in my own son's success. "Mom, what are you doing here?" He stood up. Not a greeting, a challenge. I need you to look at something, I said quietly. I don't think. Please. I stepped inside and closed the door behind me. Just 5 minutes. He didn't want to. I could see it in his jaw, the way his shoulders tensed. But something in my voice, desperation maybe, or certainty, made him sit back down. I placed the printouts on his desk. These are from her email account. Pages 1 through 12 are her communications with a man named Derek about a plan to steal from you. Pages 13 through 28 are drafts of fake text messages she created using my name to frame me as unstable. Pages 29 through 35 detail her timeline for draining your joint accounts after the wedding. He didn't touch the papers. Mom, I don't know what this is, but it looks like. Read it. My voice was harder now. Please read your wife's own words. He looked at the papers like they were poison. She told me you were trying to access her account, that you were making things up to break us apart. I accessed her account because she logged into my laptop. The auto login was still active. I found these emails, I read them, and now I'm showing you. He picked up the first page. I watched his face as he read. Watched the exact moment when his brain caught up to what his eyes were seeing. The moment when the words his wife had written in private, her own confessions, her own plans, her own lies, became undeniable. His hands started to shake. This isn't real, he whispered. This is. You faked this. You had to have faked. I didn't fake anything. Turn to page 31. That's a screenshot of a video file on her computer. She and Derek are in a car. They're laughing about how easy it is to manipulate you. He turned the pages faster now. Faster and faster. His breathing got shallow. When he looked up at me, his eyes were red. Why didn't you tell me? His voice cracked. Why did you come here? Why didn't you just… Because she got to you first. She told you I was unstable, that I was trying to break you apart. If I'd called, if I'd tried to explain, you wouldn't have listened. You would have told her everything I said, and she would have twisted it. He stood up abruptly, the papers falling to the floor. I need to talk to her. She's going to deny it. She's going to say I faked everything. She might even convince you that I did. But those emails are real. That video is real. Everything she planned is real. He grabbed his jacket and moved toward the door. Marcus. Don't, he said. Please don't say anything else. He left me standing in his office, surrounded by the proof of his wife's betrayal. I picked up the papers from the floor and looked around his space. Photos on the desk, him and her at the beach, him and her at his graduation, him and me at Christmas 5 years ago, before everything changed. That last one was faded, turned backward. I turned it back around. The door opened suddenly. His boss, a woman in her 50s with sharp eyes, stepped in. Can I help you? She asked, her tone suggesting I shouldn't be there. I was just leaving, I said. As I walked past her in the doorway, I caught sight of my reflection in the glass walls of the hallway. The gray dress, the pearls, the desperate mother. I looked like exactly what I was, a woman who'd just destroyed her son's marriage to save him from destruction. The elevator doors closed behind me. By tonight, my son would confront his wife. She would break down. She would confess to parts of the plan while denying others. She would cry and beg and promise it wasn't real, that she loved him, that she was just scared, that the emails were old, that she'd changed her mind. And my son would believe some of it. Some marriages survived infidelity. Some survived lies. But I wasn't sure any marriage survived the knowledge that from the very beginning it had been a con. My phone buzzed as I reached my car. A text from an unknown number. You just made the biggest mistake of your life, and you're going to regret it. I knew her voice through the words. I got in my car and drove home. The garden was waiting, the tomatoes I'd planted for family dinners that would never happen, the roses I'd grown for a wedding I wasn't invited to attend. I sat on the back porch and waited for my son to call. He didn't. Not that day. Not for 3 days. And in that silence, I understood what I'd sacrificed to save him, the chance to be his mother anymore. I'd become the woman who'd blown up his life to expose the truth. He might forgive me someday. but he would never look at me the same way again. He showed up at my door on the fourth day, around dusk. I was sitting on the porch, staring at nothing, when his truck pulled into the driveway. He sat in the cab for a full minute before he got out. I could see him gripping the steering wheel through the windshield, could see his shoulders rising and falling with breaths that looked like they hurt. When he finally opened the door, he looked like a ghost. "Can we sit?" he asked. We sat on the porch steps, not touching, not looking at each other. The garden stretched out before us, all those plants I'd tended alone, waiting for a family that would never gather around them again. "She admitted to most of it," he said quietly. "Not all. She's still denying the Derek part, still saying the video is doctored. But the emails about the money transfers, the fake messages, she confessed to all of it." I didn't say anything. There was nothing to say. "She left this morning. She said she needed time to think about whether she still wants to be married. Her therapist says she's been planning this since they met. That this wasn't a moment of weakness. This was her job." His voice cracked on that word, Job. "I'm sorry," I whispered. He finally looked at me. His eyes were hollow, aged by betrayal in a way that no amount of sleep could fix. "I believed her over you for so long," he said. "I chose her. Every single time, I chose her. And you knew, you were watching me walk into a trap, and you watched me do it anyway. I tried to tell you." I know you tried." He rubbed his face. "And I'm grateful. I am. If you hadn't done what you did, I would have lost everything. The money, the house, my sanity. In 6 months, I would have woken up alone and destroyed." He stood up and walked to the edge of the porch, looked out at the tomato plants. "But Mom, you broke into her account. You printed her private emails. You went to my office without telling me and handed me evidence like a lawyer, not like a mother." My chest tightened. "I did what I had to do. I know you did, and maybe that was the right call. I don't know anymore, but I need you to understand what it cost me to see those papers. It wasn't just finding out she was a liar. It was realizing that you'd already made the decision about how to handle it. You didn't give me a choice. You didn't trust me to do the right thing. You just took control. Would you have listened if I'd asked?" "No," he said. "You're right, I wouldn't have. I was too far gone. So you did what you had to do. But that doesn't mean it didn't hurt, Mom. That doesn't mean I don't feel like I lost you and her at the same time." I felt tears sliding down my face. I wasn't even sure when they'd started. "I would do it again," I said. "To save you, I would do it again in a heartbeat." He turned to me. "I know, and that's what scares me." He came back and sat beside me. This time he took my hand. His grip was tight, desperate. "I'm not saying I'm not grateful. I'm not saying you did the wrong thing. I'm saying," he paused, searching for words, "I'm saying that you became the person she needed you to be. You became ruthless, and I saw it happen, and I don't know if we can come back from that." "We can," I said. "We have to. I want to believe that." He squeezed my hand harder. "But right now, when I look at you, I don't just see the woman who saved me. I see the woman who made me feel like I couldn't trust anyone. Not her, not myself, not even you." We sat in silence as the sun sank lower. The shadows grew longer across the garden. The tomatoes turned golden in the failing light, like nothing had changed at all. "I'm going to need time," he finally said. "I need to figure out my life now, figure out who I am when the woman I thought I loved was a stranger, and I need to, I don't know, process this." "How long?" I heard the fear in my own voice. "I don't know, but I'm going to be okay. And you're going to be okay. We're going to survive this." He turned to face me. "But Mom, we're going to survive it differently. We're going to be different people now." He left after that, just got in his truck and drove away. I didn't follow him, didn't call out, didn't ask him to stay. I just sat on those porch steps and watched his taillights disappear down the street. The divorce took 8 months. She tried to claim half of his accounts, but the emails proved premeditation. The court saw right through her. She walked away with nothing except the shame of being exposed as a con artist. Derek never came forward. He just disappeared, the way professional criminals do when a job goes sideways. My son called me once a week after that. Not for long conversations. Just check-ins. How are you? I'm fine, how are you? Fine, that's good. Talk soon. It was like talking to a stranger. He went back to work. He started therapy. He began rebuilding the walls I'd watched her tear down. Slowly, brick by brick, he constructed a new life, one that didn't include her, one that barely included me. 6 months ago, on a random Thursday, he asked if he could come over for dinner. I made his favorite, the dish his wife used to mock me for making, the one with the spices she said were too heavy-handed. I made it exactly the way I'd always made it, the way he'd loved it since he was a boy. When he arrived, he brought flowers, not the kind you give your mother out of obligation, real flowers, fresh, chosen carefully. We ate on the back porch, watching the garden as the sun set. We didn't talk about the con, didn't talk about her, didn't talk about the emails or the trap or any of it. We just ate and watched the light change and existed in the same space. At the end of the night, as he was leaving, he hugged me. A real hug. The kind where you hold on for an extra second because you mean it. "I'm proud of you," he said. "For what?" "For being my mom, even when it was hard, especially when it was hard." I held on to him a little longer than I should have. "I would do it all again," I whispered. "I know," he said, "and I'm still not sure if that's the bravest thing you've ever done or the scariest." He pulled away and looked at me. "But I'm grateful. I want you to know that. Whatever happened between us, whatever changed, I'm grateful." He drove away that night, and I sat in my kitchen with the leftover food cooling on the plates. I'd saved my son from a predator. I'd exposed a con. I'd become ruthless and strategic and cold in ways I'd never been before. And it had worked. He was free. He was alive. He was going to be okay. But I'd also lost something in the process. Some part of myself that believed in the simple power of love and trust. That part of me was gone now, replaced by someone harder. Someone who knew that sometimes protecting the people you love means becoming someone they won't recognize. I looked out at the garden. The tomatoes were coming in again. But this time, I didn't plant them for the promise of family dinners. I planted them because that's what I did now. I tended. I nurtured. I stayed. Even when no one was coming to eat. Especially then.